Today I'll show you how to change the oil and filter on your Buick with the 1.4 Turbo Ecotec engine. I'm demonstrating on a 2014 Encore, but this procedure should also apply to some Sonic, Trax, and Cruz models. To change the oil, you'll need an oil drain pan to collect the used motor oil. 5W30 full synthetic, and it's recommended to have the Dexos designation. The oil filter, this one is a Fram CH10246, but you can also use a Castrol CAS10246. Funnel. To remove the oil filter cap, I've got a shallow 15/16 socket on a universal joint, which gives it some mobility, 4-inch extender, and my ratchet, and a rag or two. You'll need to raise the front end either with ramps or jack stands. If you plan to use the jack point behind the front tires for your jack stands, be sure to use a pinch weld adapter to distribute the weight properly. I'm using a low profile jack, so I'm going to jack it up from here and then put some jack stands underneath there as well. Notice I'm using a hockey puck to protect the metal. Then I do two things for fail-safe. With the weight of the vehicle on the jack stands, I'll leave the jack in place just so it's got some weight on it, but of course the weight really resting on the jack stands. This is just a backup. And then putting some wood underneath the rocker panel so that if this were to fall for any reason, that's going to keep it from falling on me. Make sure to block the rear tires with chocks or a piece of wood and engage the parking brake. Now with the vehicle jacked up, with my chocks in place, my parking brake on, my fail-safes in place, time to go under the car. To protect the cement from any spilling oil, I like to just take an old piece of plywood and lay it down. To locate the drain plug, I'm coming in from the front of the vehicle. The viewpoint is from the driver's side tire, and it's right here. So center from the front is about here. You see coming from the manifold, there's your oil pan, and there's the drain plug. It's just in front of the front axle and differential. Now to drain the oil, have your oil drain pan ready. If your car's been running recently, before draining the oil, make sure that it cools down. The vehicle comes with a 10 mil drain plug. I've got it replaced with a 13 mil. So it's got to come off counterclockwise to loosen, so that's this direction. There. It's not too tight. This one is not put on very tight at all. We'll talk about that. Once you can loosen it by hand, move your drain pan underneath. I like to apply some pressure just to keep the oil from spilling out until the plug is ready to come out. Look at that, didn't even get any oil on my fingers. Put the drain plug where you know you can find it later. Now we're going to leave that drain for 5 to 10 minutes. While the oil drains, we'll change out the oil filter. So coming in from the front, we can find our oil cap here, and then our filter to the side of it down there. To prevent oil from spilling on your laneway or your engine, stuff a rag in to catch any oil when you remove the filter. So I've got to take that off is a shallow 15/16 socket with a universal joint, and that gives you the flexibility you need. A 4-inch extension. And now to take it off, we're going to turn it counterclockwise, which is this way. Now lifting out the cap, which will have the oil filter connected to it. Just going to go slow, trying not to spill too much oil. Okay, filter's still down there. Just going to put the filter in the box that came from the new one. So here's the old oil filter, here's the new oil filter, and here's the cap. On the cap, there's a rubber O-ring that needs to be replaced. And you can see there's just a little slot there. So if you slip a flathead screwdriver under there, remove that. So you can see that after the threads we have this space here, and that's where the ring goes. So put the new ring on. Just feeding it in. And next, I'm going to take my new oil and just get a little on my finger. And I'm just going to coat that ring with the fresh oil. Now you can see the crown head of this. That's going to clip in to the inside of our cap. And that will go in. Now it's ready to be replaced. Got this wire in the way. There. Start to tighten by hand. Righty-tighty, clockwise. Try to get a sense of when the rubber makes contact. And then once your O-ring makes contact, just tighten a little bit past that. There. Okay, so now I've got a bit of resistance. So I'm just going to give it, oh geez, probably just an eighth of a turn. Now with my oil drained, install my drain plug, turning clockwise. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And this only gets 14 Newton meters, so not very much. That's the same as 10.3 foot-pounds. So you don't tighten it very much. With the drain plug and new filter in place, it's time to add the oil. Before you take the oil cap off, just give the area some cleaning. We don't want any dirt dropping into the engine. And then remove it counterclockwise. It takes 4 liters or 4.2 quarts. With the oil added, time to put the cap on and check oil levels. The car needs to be on a level surface, so remove the jack stands or start it up and drive it off the ramps. Regardless of whether or not you're driving it off the ramps, at this point we do need to start the vehicle. This will distribute the oil throughout the engine so we get a good accurate reading on our dipstick. So we'll start it up, and you want to look for any oil lights on the dash. And we're clear. We've got an engine light, but that's another video. So we've just shut off the engine, and now we need to let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes to let all the oil drain down into the pan. So it's been 5 minutes. Now we'll check our oil levels. Here's our dipstick right here, yellow. So we'll pull that out, wipe the entire stick down, reinsert it. It's reading right about there, so we're good. Right on the top fill line. If it's below this line, you want to add oil. If it's in between, you're okay. I'm right near that top fill line, so I'm where I want to be. Now make sure to reset the oil life indicator. So turn your key 2 clicks right before you'd engage the starter, and then go to the menu, and you're going to hit it until you get to not the trip fuel information. Hit it again, vehicle information menu, that's what you want, and then we'll turn our indicator till we get to remaining oil life. Now I'm going to push this reset button. It says, are you sure you want to reset? Bring this up to yes. Again, press this button. 100%. Congratulations, you've changed your oil. Remember to dispose of the oil container, filter, and used motor oil at a designated facility, not with regular garbage. Can't find one? Google dispose used motor oil near me. Please like and subscribe. If it saved you a bit of money, why not send me a little thanks through YouTube at the bottom? Appreciate it. That will allow me to keep making more videos, save you more money. Thanks for watching.